TV Spotlight. Roswell. Roswell is the name of an American science fiction series that ran for 3 seasons from 1999 to 2002. It was set in the town of Roswell, New Mexico, infamous for the 1947 UFO crash conspiracy theory story that remains a big part of pop culture and culture in general to this day. It was essentially a kind of a teen science fiction drama, very much kind of coming off the craze. I guess I always kind of said coming off of Buffy, but I guess also coming off of the kind of the post-Clueless, post-Scream teen movie craze in the cinemas as well. Roswell was a very different show from the likes of Buffy. It was much more kind of slow burn. It essentially focused on 3 teenagers, Max, Michael, and Isabel, who are not human. They're aliens. They came down in the crash of 1947, but they were basically in like cryogenic tubes and did not come out until like the late 80s, and they came out as essentially human-looking children. This secret starts to unravel when a local teenager, Liz, I'm watching this show at the moment and I can't remember the character's name. It's called Getting Old, people. Liz Barker, played by Sherry Appleby, is gunned down during an altercation that gets out of control in the cafe she works at, and Max basically risks public exposure by using his powers to save her life, because he's kind of always had a bit of a thing for her. And to be fair, you can't really blame him. Liz's other friends, Maria and Alex, played by Colin Hanks, Tom Hanks' son, are eventually pulled into the secret keeping as well, with the local sheriff, played by a very well-known actor, William Sadler, who DS9 fans will know as Sloane from Section 31 in the last couple of seasons, but whose resume goes well beyond just that, as is the local sheriff. Roswell was a strange show. It was never a massive hit, which is why it only lasted for 3 seasons, and why it kind of... They tried to kind of jazz it up, you know. The first season is very much a slow burn drama with the relationships very much the focus, particularly between Liz and Max, but also on the necessity of keeping this secret. And you could say that arguably the science fiction was kind of on the lower burner to a degree. Bizarrely, the second season really turned the dial up on the science fiction, particularly in the start of the season, where we basically get alien monsters antagonists coming in. And then the third season kind of dialed that back a bit and became a bit more of a mix between the styles of the first 2 seasons. In much the same way that another show that I covered recently, Millennium, also kind of flip-flopped in terms of what it wanted to do. Now, I watched Roswell at the time. It was one of those shows that I watched at the time. I bought it on DVD. I still have the DVDs. It's one of those shows I've always had a kind of a mixed relationship with. I've never been a massive fan of it. But at the same time, I liked it enough to keep watching it and obviously buy the DVDs. Even though, up until recently, I've only recently started season 1 again. I haven't watched it for, I don't know, probably well over 10 years, maybe even 10 to 15 years. Who knows? Time goes by so quickly these days. But yeah, it's been a long time. Again, possibly because the first season in particular does have kind of a slow pace. It's not what you would call a action-packed, fast-paced joke fest, but it is a very atmospheric series. It's very well written. It's very well acted. Uh, Jason Behr, who plays Max, Buffy fans will recognize him as her somewhat traitorous friend from the season 2 episode Lie to Me. Now, I honestly don't know whether most of these actors have gone on to do other things. Obviously, Colin Hanks, I know he's still around. He was the main villain in Dexter season 6, oddly enough. I don't know. I've never seen Jason Behr again, so I don't know. I don't know. Brendan Fair, who plays Michael, was in the 2012 Silent Night movie, which was a sort of a loose remake of the 80s Silent Night, Deadly Night. I've never seen the actress who plays Maria again. Shiri Appleby, I know she's still around. She was the series lead in something. I remember reading it a while back. But the only thing I've ever actually seen her in since Roswell is one episode of Elementary in the 2010s. Has to be said, she just still looked pretty good as well. Because, yeah. She is really, really pretty. That's all I'll say. But yeah, I'm watching it again. I'm kind of enjoying it again. Again, it's a slow burn. It's something you have to kind of be in the mood for, that kind of thing, rather than wanting, action every 5 seconds or anything. But on that level, I'm kind of enjoying it again. So yeah, anybody who's not seen Roswell, yes, I am aware. I am aware that there was apparently a reboot in the early 2020s. Not remotely, not a reboot in the sense of being a continuation. A reboot in the sense of basically being a remake with a very diverse cast. Apparently it didn't last even beyond one season. I'm not surprised, and I've never heard anybody even talk about it. Even on YouTube, I've never heard anybody even mention it. So kind of like that Charmed one. I don't know why they bother. I really don't. The modern audience is not going to be interested, and the original audience would really rather watch the original. It's just you're wasting everybody's time. But anyway, I like Roswell. It's a fun show. I'm enjoying watching it again. Again, I can barely remember it because it's been a really long time, even though I have watched it on DVD before. But I mean, season 1, or at least the first half of season 1, is like 26 years old now, which is more than a quarter of a century. Oh, good God, I'm old. Sorry, I'm just watching the clouds go past in my window. They're going past really quickly. It's snowing. It's been snowing here again. Okay. Anyway, I like Roswell. If you haven't seen it, if you enjoy, I'd say Roswell was like a kind of a mid-tier late 90s, early 2000s show. It's not up there with the likes of Buffy or the X-Files or anything like that. But honestly, a mid-tier late 90s, early 2000s show, freaking light years ahead of the crap we get these days. That's what I think anyway.